Welcome back to Movies You Missed podcast, everybody. This is episode 196. This is an in memoriam episode to the great and now very unfortunately late Rob Reiner. We've discussed him before here on this podcast, but we're going to talk a lot about him on this episode because Vee and I both chose two different Rob Reiner flicks to break down, discuss, and celebrate the fandom that we had for Rob Reiner that many others out there definitely shared along with us. He was a very, very talented director and a very talented actor as well. I can't wait to get into one of my favorite roles of his as an actor in a Martin Scorsese film, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Vee, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It definitely was a different feeling watching these films this week than I had before because of the subject matter and the topic this week. But it felt good to revisit them and just look through his filmography and remember the movies that he's made and given us over the years, and just still so sad that he's gone.
It is very, very sad. It was quite the shock. I remember when you texted me saying they're thinking this is Rob Reiner, and then about an hour later it was confirmed that it unfortunately was Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner. So it is going to be a little bit somber discussing his career and these movies, but as fans, I am excited to do it, and I know both of these movies that we picked are very renowned movies of Rob Reiner's, and I think that's actually a pretty good thing. I think that's a good thing to discuss because just about every one of the movies that he directed were watchable and enjoyable and entertaining at the same time. So I look forward to talking about yours because I had actually never seen yours all the way through. And my pick I had seen a couple other times other than this viewing, and it was a great revisit. So I look forward to bringing it to the podcast and to our audience, and hopefully everybody will learn something about the production of these two movies.
I'm right there with you, especially because you are introducing me to your pick this week as well, and so the idea of introducing new Rob Reiner films to each other to celebrate his life, I think, is very fitting.
Completely agree. Let's hold off on these two movies for a second and discuss the movies that we saw in theaters or on streaming over the last week.
Yes, we like to discuss the new movies even on memoriam episodes like this one. And do you want to go first?
I can, unless you would like to go first.
Well, I only saw one movie, sure. Why not?
Oh, all right. Whatever works.
Okay. I'll jump right in with the Netflix movie that I saw that is Kate Winslet's directorial debut. Had a ton of great people in it, including Helen Mirren and Toni Collette. Everyone did a really great job in this movie, and their brother was played by the guy who played Mr. Knightley in the Anya Taylor-Joy movie Emma that you picked a while ago.
All right.
So cute. Yeah. So many people in this movie. Everybody did a great job. This is called Goodbye June. This is a family drama about a mother, a matriarch of a larger family, who is dying of cancer. And it covers a 2.5-week period of this family's life while June is in the hospital. Everyone did such a great performance. It was such a sweet movie, bittersweet. And the script was really good. It was just so poignant to me because I have a very similar family makeup with multiple sisters and a single brother. And anyone who has aging parents or has several siblings that they've grown up with and have had different and evolving dynamics with, highly recommend this film. Kate Winslet did a great job directing it too, and she was amazing. Her performance was so good. I love it.
She's in it too.
She's in it. She stars in it too, as well as...
sweet.
Yeah, everyone's just so great. And so it's on Netflix. It's called Goodbye June. Highly, highly recommend this family drama.
Awesome. I did hear that Winslet was directing a movie. I didn't know what it was called or what studio brought it about, and I am definitely going to check it out because I do love me some Winslet.
Yeah, every aspect of her performance and her directing and bringing this movie together, and all of her actor friends who are incredibly talented, being able to play in... God, Helen Mirren... She's in a bed for the entire movie. Her performance is still captivating. Even in a bed with basically no makeup and looking like she's dying, basically. And she's still so good. And it's just a really lovely story of a family dealing with a very difficult yet inevitable part of life.
Absolutely. I will give this one a shot for sure before our 2025 roundup.
Good. And what movies did you watch this week?
Oh boy, where to start? I watched 3.5 movies over the last week.
Okay.
3 of which were in theaters, the half of the other one was on streaming. And might as well start there. I had this movie on my to-watch list on Amazon for the last 3-4 months. It was Martin Freeman starring, including Julia Butters, and I love Julia Butters because she's one of my favorite actresses in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she actually really did a great job in Freakier Friday over the last year with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. This movie is called Queen of Bones.
Okay.
Yeah, it sucked. I turned it off after about 40 minutes.
I figured that's where this was going.
I ended up pausing it to be like, okay, there's got to be 20 minutes left. And there was still another hour. There was just nothing interesting going on in the first 45 minutes of this movie, so I unfortunately turned it off, even though the cast had two really wonderful actors in it, and we are fans of Martin Freeman here, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This movie just was not it, and there was... no. I never finished it, so I don't even know how it ends, so I can't recommend it to anybody personally.
Alrighty.
The next movie I saw was a sequel, starring Gerard Butler and Morena Bird. Baccarin, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know how to say her last name.
She's so... I love her so much.
She's incredibly, just wonderfully beautiful.
Hot.
Oh my God.
She's gorgeous.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've loved her ever since she was Nara in Firefly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you mentioned that before. I think I saw her for the first time in a How I Met Your Mother episode, and then later on in Deadpool and Deadpool 2. This was all right. I would give it a solid C+. It's a good sequel. It's got a lot of intensity to it. It just happened too fast, and everything was way too easy. It was like, come on, give us something. Make it in... when it ended, I was just kind of like, that's it? Like, come on. Like, this was just way too easy for a disaster movie, and I really wanted a little bit more. And like I said, there are some intense moments. The soundtrack is great. It's shot beautifully. Gerard Butler's always a blast to watch. It's still a C+ movie. It's really not that great, and I think it's a completely unnecessary sequel because I actually really enjoyed Greenland, and I didn't think there would ever be a sequel to it.
Yeah, neither did I.
The next full feature film that I watched over the last week was in theaters. It was starring Will Arnett and Laura Dern, directed by Bradley Cooper. I went and saw Is This Thing On?
Yeah, I have no interest in that movie, but I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it.
I piggyback on you having no interest in it because there's nothing interesting that really happens in the movie. Although it's actually a very well-made movie. It's written very well. It is very funny, and it's very dramatically filled. It just was... When it ended, I was kind of like, what? Why? It kind of felt like another Smashing Machine. It was like, why do we need this story?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we need this? And apparently, Is This Thing On is based on a true story about a comedian that Will Arnett met in Amsterdam one wild afternoon and was like, hey, I want to make a movie about your life. And Will Arnett is really damn good in this movie. And Laura Dern's great. Literally everybody, even Bradley Cooper, for the 8.5 minutes of screen time that he has, he's great. But the movie is just kind of like, When it ended, I was like, okay, I guess that's that.
Mm-hmm.
And walked out and was like, all right, I would give it another, it deserves a C+. It doesn't deserve a B rating. And the final movie that I saw was a wild-ass horror movie that luckily starts off the year far better than last year's horror beginnings. This movie stars Johnny Sequoia and Troy Kotsur. This is Primate.
Oh, yeah. Seeing that trailer in theaters, I didn't want to watch it.
Oh, I did, and I went and saw it. I went and saw it actually in RPX, which is the Regal Premium experience.
Ooh.
And it was actually pretty badass. The screen was massive, and the seats vibrated with a lot of the intense moments. This horror movie has one of the best soundtracks in the last 3 years in horror movies. Like, awesome soundtrack, and it is brutal. It is awesome. It's so bloody. I had moments where I was like, no! Like, I was audibly screaming at the screen, and luckily the theater was pretty packed and everybody else was as well, so I didn't feel like I was singled out. Primate is awesome. 2 thumbs up. Check this shit out. It's like, in a weird way, it's kind of like The Monkey from last year.
Ooh.
Definitely worth seeing if you like creature features and really bloody horror movies.
Okay.
And it is, I highly recommend it. It's pretty badass.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time with it.
Yeah, me too. It's now time to discuss the man of the hour, Rob Reiner. Let's get into the first pick of this week. V, I believe you start us off.
I do, actually.
Do you think I can handle the truth?
I hope so, since you've never seen this movie before.
All right, let's get into it.
I picked a movie directed by Rob Reiner and written by Aaron Sorkin that came out in 1992. It is one of my favorite courtroom drama movies. It also stars one of my all-time favorite actors, Tom Cruise. It also stars a lot of people.
Yeah, it does. There are people just showing up every 5-10 minutes like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this.
Yes.
It's like a Saving Private Ryan situation where just everybody's in this movie.
Or JFK or Heat and some of the other movies that we've picked before that have very stacked casts in them, especially because many of these actors went on to have very strong careers if they didn't have ones established already. And so I'll go through everyone who starred in this film as I go through the plot, as I always do. So let's talk about this classic courtroom drama that I have the pleasure of introducing John to this week. I hope he enjoyed it. We'll get into that in a second as well. And I am talking about the film A Few Good Men, which is an apt title since there is basically one woman in this entire film. But I'll also get into
That's
why
true.
this movie was titled A Few Good Men in just a minute. This film centers on a military justice case about some Marines who were stationed in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Unfortunately, a fellow Marine has died, and now we're looking for the truth as, which that will come up a lot lately, the truth. But we are looking into exactly what happened and who is responsible. And the victim of this crime is named Private Santiago, and I'll let him give you a rundown of what the situation is.
Dear sir, my name is PFC William T. Santiago. I'm a Marine stationed at Marine Barracks, Rifle Security Company, Windward, 2nd Platoon Bravo. I'm writing to inform you of my problems with my unit here in Cuba and to ask for your help. I've fallen out on runs before for several reasons, such as feeling dizzy or nauseated. But on May 18th, I've fallen back about 20 or 30 yards, going down a rocky, unstable hill. My sergeant grabbed me and pushed me down the hill. Then I saw all black, and the last thing I remember is hitting the deck. I was brought to the hospital where I was told I just had heat exhaustion. I ask you to help me. Please, sir, I just need to be transferred out of RSC. Sincerely, PFC William T. Santiago, U.S. Marine Corps. P.S. In exchange for my transfer off the base, I'm willing to provide you with information about
an illegal fence line shooting that occurred the night of August the 2nd. Who the fuck is PFC William T. Santiago?
Private Santiago's a member of 2nd Platoon Bravo, sir.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's not very happy down here at Shangri-La because he's written letters to everybody but Santa Claus asking for a transfer. And now he's telling tales about a fence line shooting. Matthew?
I'm appalled, sir.
You're appalled. This kid broke the chain of command and ratted on a member of his unit, to say nothing of the fact that he is a U.S. Marine, and it would appear he can't run from here to there without collapsing from heat exhaustion. What the fuck is going on in Bravo Company, Matthew?
So Private Santiago really wants to leave Guantanamo. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and what happens instead is what's called a Code Red, and it's basically mob justice or community justice because it's his fellow officers taking training and justice into their own hands to teach him a lesson, basically. And the biggest problem is that he's gone outside the chain of command, and B, he's basically snitching on a fellow Marine. And so this Code Red happens, which involves taping his mouth shut. But unfortunately, during this process, he starts bleeding profusely, and he ends up dying. And so now these two Marines, Downey and Dawson, who performed the Code Red, have been arrested and charged with murder, and now transferred up to Washington, D.C., where the JAG offices are, which are the Judge Advocate Generals. It's basically military justice and military courts. And this is where we get introduced to Demi Moore. She plays Lieutenant Commander Joanne Galloway. She's a lawyer, and she really wants this case, but unfortunately she's gone to her commanding officers, and I love this line because she asks them all, hey, can I take this case? I'd like to be their lawyer. And they say, why don't you go get a cup of coffee? And she goes, oh, no, I'm okay. And he goes, no, I want you to leave the room so we can all talk about you. She's like, oh, right, yes, sir. Okay, I'm out of here. And so she does, and they discuss how she actually doesn't have any trial experience, so she's the wrong person to give this to. And this is where Lieutenant Daniel Caffey comes in. He's played by Tom Cruise. He's been in the Navy for 9 months. He's been a lawyer for a year. He's very new to this whole process, but he's very good at pleading down cases and never seeing the inside of a courtroom. And so he does have a lot of experience, 44 cases in fact. And he actually is the son of a former attorney general. He's trying to live up to his father's reputation and legendary status, and everybody knows his dad, and that's a big piece of this story as well. And he and his buddy, Lieutenant Sam Weinberg, played by Kevin Pollak, are really a duo of lawyers, and they are given the case. They're assigned the case, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Pollak was actually in a very early pick of mine because he's in Willow. He plays one of the little brownies, Rule.
Oh, right, yeah.
But he also plays Yanni Gogolak in The Whole Nine Yards, another previous pick of mine.
Yeah.
He's great in that. And he's also in The Usual Suspects, a movie that I will be picking in the future.
Hell yeah.
So he and Tom Cruise are taking on this case, and this is where Demi Moore continues to come into play because she really wants to be involved and is volunteering to be a researcher, to be a helper, and they're like, yeah, fine, we clearly can't get rid of you. And she is also higher in rank than Tom Cruise, which is a really nice aspect of this story. And so he really can't get rid of her even if he wanted to.
Yep.
Okay, so they've taken the case. Who is on the other side of the courtroom? Well, first and foremost, Kevin Bacon is the prosecutor, basically, in this story. We've previously talked about him in your pick of Mystic River.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Bacon plays Captain Jack Ross in this movie, and he's really good too. The dynamic between Tom Cruise and Kevin Bacon in the courtroom is really fun to watch. They're friends outside of the court, but inside they are going back and forth. The dialogue in this movie is so sharp because it's written by Aaron Sorkin, but the energy that's brought and the chemistry that's brought, I think, makes this movie as good as it is. Tom Cruise and Kevin Bacon playing off each other works surprisingly well.
Oh, yeah, big time. For some reason, I had always thought that they were in risky business together.
Oh, I could see that because Footloose came around.
Yeah, I think that's why.
That time, yeah. So that makes sense. I'm gonna pick Tremors at some October when I'm doing a creature feature for sure, and then
Nice.
everybody likes to talk about like Footloose or he was really good in Apollo 13, but I actually, and he's great, don't get me wrong, I love Kevin Bacon. He and his wife have a great social media presence. They have a farm. If you guys ever want nice, happy, calming content, definitely follow both of them. They're lovely.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, they're super cute together. They're always dancing or playing with their miniature cows and stuff. They have a really cool farm.
Mini cows?
He gifted her 2 mini Highland cows for her birthday recently.
Oh my gosh, that's badass.
So adorable, yeah. So yeah, they have great content, but I really love him as the villain in X-Men First Class.
Hell yeah.
He
so good.
blew me away at how evil he could be.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really impressed. So that's a really fun role of his to watch. And he's great as the prosecutor, and what he's doing is trying to prove is that Dawson Downey took this upon themselves to hurt Santiago. There was a revenge aspect because of the shooting that Santiago was going to report on, and so he's actually trying to prove this case that it was intentional, that there was motive, and he's basically just trying to convict these guys of murder. Because we're in Guantanamo Bay, because we're in the military, there are a lot of supporting characters and commanding officers and people who were present or were not. And so there's a whole host of fantastic actors who are really fun to watch in these roles and in this movie. One of them being Kiefer Sutherland. He plays such an asshole in this movie. And
oh, yeah.
we've talked about his dad many times because his dad was Donald Sutherland. And
yeah.
I'm going to take this opportunity to recommend a movie that came out in the last couple years that he was in. It's on Netflix. It's called They Clone Tyrone.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that one.
Great film. Still recommend it. He was in it, and it came out just in the last 2 years. But of course, we love him in The Three Musketeers.
Hell yeah.
He's very evil in A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's in the show 24. And then a couple other Marines in this movie. J.T. Walsh plays a second in command at Guantanamo Bay, which is cool because he makes a very brief appearance in your movie this week. He's the state trooper that has the news conference who says, "Oh yeah, he's totally dead."
Oh, holy I did not put that together at all. I watched these movies literally back to back, and I didn't even realize that.
Well,
that's
he
amazing.
Plays 2 very different characters with very different glasses.
True. That could have been what it was, the glasses difference. Yes.
He's also really good in The Client. He's a bad guy in Breakdown. He's really, really creepy in that. And he's...
Ooh, Breakdown, Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and he's great in The Negotiator. J.T. Walsh was a very underrated actor, and Rob Reiner spoke very highly of him, too.
Awesome.
And then the commander of Guantanamo Bay, and who basically becomes a bit of an opponent for Tom Cruise and his team in this movie, is the great Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
He plays Colonel Nathan Jessup, who is running all of Guantanamo Bay. And so he leads all of these Marines. We just talked about him in Something's Gotta Give.
Hell yeah.
I've spoken about him because I picked The Shining.
Yes.
I introduced you to Anger Management, which I think is one of his funniest roles.
Yes, you did. We haven't done that on here yet, though.
No, I think it'd be great if you picked it, actually.
Oh, well, maybe.
That could be fun.
Yeah, that movie was pretty freaking hilarious.
It really was. And Jack Nicholson will definitely appear on our podcast in the future because I want to introduce John to Chinatown. I'm probably going to pick One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at some point. John's dad is going to have us watch Reds in the future, which is great because we both want to watch it.
Yes.
I think you'll pick Mars Attacks at some point too.
Oh, you better believe it.
Okay, so that is most of the cast. I'll mention a couple more a little bit too, but basically what it comes down to is Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, and Kevin Pollak are trying to defend these two Marines who are accused of murder and potentially doing it on purpose, while the Marines and all of their commanding officers, led by Kevin Bacon, prosecute this case and try to prove that it was two guys who took matters into their own hands and unfortunately killed this guy named Santiago. And it ends up in a courtroom, and what makes this movie good and watchable, because since this is a dialogue-driven movie, it's all about the screenplay, as we always say, right?
Oh, yeah.
And having it be written by Aaron Sorkin is so important. I'm a huge fan of his. I've picked previous movies of his before, actually. I was very nervous about this week because not only am I introducing you to this film, but my previous Aaron Sorkin pick was The American President, which John did not like. And so I'm really interested to hear whether or not John enjoyed his time with this movie. And I've loved this movie since I was a teenager. There's a great build-up. There is a slow burn to this movie, which you need to prepare yourself for, especially because it's a 2-hour plus long film. It's like 2:10.
Yeah, I think so.
But the climax, the last 25 minutes of this movie, is so fantastic and so satisfying, and there's such a great payoff to the whole thing. Everybody delivers. Everybody seems to have worked really hard on this film. I just really have loved this film ever since I was a teenager, and have actually increased my love for it as I've gotten older too, because I have more patience to watch a film like this, which is nice. And I cannot recommend it more. A lot of people are always surprised when I remind them that Rob Reiner directed it. And that's one of the things about him that I loved so much. He has such variety in his films. And I know we're going to talk about his filmography towards the end of the episode, but just going from completely farcical movies in the beginning of his career to one of the best movies ever made to now a courtroom drama. And there's so many different genres that he dipped his toe in that I thought was so ambitious. And it just seemed like he was always very passionate about that and telling stories that he wanted to tell. And I always thought that was so cool. And so now I want to hear what John has to say about his experience watching this movie for the very first time. And hopefully he enjoyed it almost as much as I did, maybe.
Yeah, let's get into it. I think I mentioned this on the last episode. I've started this movie 2 different times and turned it off both times within the first maybe 6 minutes. And when I was watching it this time around,
but it wasn't because you hated it,
why,
right?
Well, no, I didn't hate it, but I remembered that the guy that plays the guy behind the desk, when he's like, well, why don't you step outside so we can talk behind your back?
Right.
His acting I did not like at all. It just literally felt like he was reading off of a board somewhere else in the room. It just didn't feel authentic enough for me.
I guess it's a good thing he's only in the movie for 90 seconds then.
Exactly. Yeah, it absolutely is. So once I got past that part and watching Demi Moore a lot in this movie, stunning. Oh my God. I almost texted you when I was watching. I was like, I don't think I've seen Demi Moore look more beautiful.
Agreed.
Which I think is still a true statement. Beyond her beauty, of course, she's a very talented actress. She was great in this movie as Lieutenant Galloway. I loved her tenacity, and I loved her strength, especially when she's kind of shooting down at Tom Cruise's character. And I really, really liked that there was no hookup scene between both of them.
Yes.
I was really looking at it. I'm like, okay, this is the 90s. It has that soundtrack, that 90s, 80s electric drum soundtrack and bass and everything like that. And something just, I was watching it, and of course she's like, oh, I'd like to take you to dinner, but it wasn't a romantic thing. And I really liked that so much about this movie because it would have just completely tarnished the whole thing.
It would have, and it would have diminished her character and her individuality. And
exactly.
The studio pushed back on Aaron Sorkin and demanded he write a sex scene for them. They did not care about Tom Cruise and Demi Moore being in a relationship. They just wanted a sex scene in the film. And because this was his first ever screenplay, he said okay, and so he rewrote it. And Rob Reiner came in and said, "What the hell is this? I'm taking it out." And a studio executive who remains unnamed told Aaron Sorkin, "If Tom Cruise and Demi Moore aren't going to sleep with each other, why is Demi Moore a woman?"
Oh, see, that's ridiculous. That was Jeffrey Katzenberg, wasn't it?
Probably. And
yeah.
Aaron Sorkin responded, "Women have purposes other than to sleep with Tom Cruise."
Yeah, totally. Well,
However,
good. I'm glad that everybody stood their ground on that.
Yes.
Although Sorkin did add it, but it was, like you said, it was his first screenplay, so his agent was probably like, dude, just fucking do it and just move on.
And so thankfully
Absolutely.
Rob Reiner came in and was like, what is this bullshit? Especially because this is originally a play, which I'll get into in a little bit.
Right, yeah. Yeah, when I saw the opening credits, like, based on his play, I'm like, oh, no kidding. I had no idea. So getting past all of that and the fact that there was no hookup scene, which I completely applauded the entire movie for, it is wonderfully written. It is shot so awesome. And the cast is really, really fantastic. I would say after Born on the 4th of July, I would say this is Tom Cruise's next best movie up until like the late 90s. Because he was so good in it. And while he has that cliche character about him where it's like, oh yeah, I'm the young
Hot shit.
I'm the young son, and yeah, I'm going to be badass, and I'm going to eat an apple while you tell me about this deposition, and da-da-da-da-da. And she really puts him in his place,
So
including Kevin Pollak at a few times too. He's like, dude, just, let's be professional about this whole thing. And not that he's not being professional. He's just taking it, he's almost sugarcoating the whole thing because he's like, oh, well, I can get it moved down to 6 years or 12 years. And I'm really good friends with the prosecution. So let's get this shit over with so I can go play softball.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out that way, which I really liked. There's a lot of great transitions. I did not feel like a 2-hour plus movie to me. You and I were talking before we recorded that the ending kind of got a little jumbly for me, and you broke it down for me very well, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah,
and,
my pleasure.
And I will say my least favorite thing was that soundtrack. The soundtrack was terrible. But other than that, it is written very well. The locations are great. I love the lunch scene between Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and all of them. And
So good.
when he's like, you're going to have to ask me nicely for the transfer papers. And that whole thing was great. I love when they bring it up later on when, what is it, McAfee? What's his character's name?
Who?
Cruise's character.
Oh, Caffey.
McAfee
is a security application on
yes, it
your
is.
computer.
Yeah. Spyware, not McAfee. Yeah. And I like the scene where Caffey goes into his own closet and notices it's just like that everything is hanging. I really like the way that it all does kind of come together, and I thought all the courtroom stuff was really, really good. Like you said, Kevin Bacon was great. I love the judge too. I didn't catch what his name was, but he was awesome. Supporting characters all around. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland, my gosh, you just want to fucking wring his neck the entire time.
Oh my god.
Like every time he shows up on screen, you're like, mother of
a bastard. He really is. He's got this annoying accident that makes you want to smack him in the face too, and helps with that arrogance.
Stupid flat top haircut.
Oh, and he's super smug the whole entire time. And I love the Navy. Every time we got to go somewhere to fight, you fellas always give us a ride.
Oh yeah,
so arrogant and shitty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like I said, Tom Cruise was super good as the lawyer in this movie. And another thing about Sorkin, we haven't really done a lot of Sorkin talk on our show in particular, but I really do like his writing. Maybe some of the movies I haven't been a fan of, but the writing is usually great. And I would say after finally now seeing A Few Good Men and finally seeing the whole You Can't Handle the Truth and all that stuff, seeing the story behind just that moment in the movie in the entire 2 hours was great. So I really did like the movie. I had a little trouble towards the end. I think it just happened too fast. And maybe that was the whole point. And it landed well, and Rob Reiner did a damn good job. Everybody did.
Well, and the questions you asked me before we started recording were completely reasonable and made sense to me why you would be asking them. And I think maybe watching the movie again would probably help as well. But I totally understand where you're coming from in that. And you're right, it does happen a little fast. But I think looking at the movie as a whole, like you said, it makes sense how it's all coming together, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many little interactions in this movie, like you said, with the script that are so compelling and just keep the movie moving along. Just even the objections between Tom Cruise and Kevin Bacon are so fun to watch and so entertaining without feeling manufactured. I really, really like that a lot. And there are so many little scenes that help with the tension of this movie and the emotion and making these characters feel like real people. And I love Demi Moore and Tom Cruise playing off each other as well, because 98% of the movie, they're butting heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a moment where Demi, being, again, like I said, she's not that experienced with trial law, with being in a courtroom. She's trying to convince him what the right thing to do is. And Tom Cruise keeps saying, it doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. And I love how he delivers that line, right? And there's so many scenes like that aren't the pinnacle of this movie, which is the most quoted line, which is "you can't handle the truth," and the confrontation between Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. There's so many other scenes that are as satisfying in that and are as fun and entertaining as that make this movie as a whole worth watching, not just to build up to this climax. And so it sounds like you had a good time with it, and I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that you give it another shot, maybe in like 6 to 8 months. And maybe I do believe it's one of those movies that you like the more times you watch it.
Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. And that line, it reminds me of Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. It's like, damn, yeah.
Right? There are a lot of other supporting characters that will pop up, like you said, and you're like, oh, shit. And Cuba Gooding Jr. is in this movie. Noah Wyle is in the film, and he's in the pit. He just won a Golden Globe last weekend for it, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Xander Berkeley is in this movie for a very short amount of time. He's Tom Cruise's boss, and he's the stepdad in T2 that we picked last week.
That's
really cool.
right, yeah.
And, okay, I absolutely love it. Love that I get to share this fact. Christopher Guest is in this film.
I know.
He plays Dr. Stone, who is the physician for Guantanamo Bay, and so he comes up onto the stand. He's very clean cut. He has glasses. He's in a black uniform. He looks very professional and very military. And not only is he married to Jamie Lee Curtis in real life, but the thing that blew my mind is that he plays Count Rugen in The Princess Bride for Rob Reiner.
That's right.
He's the six-fingered man.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks nothing like Count Rugen in this movie. He disappears into roles, and nobody talks about how good of an actor he is, because he became famous with all of his funny, farcical, satirical movies like A Mighty Wind and Best in Show and stuff like that, which are all fantastic in and of themselves, don't get me wrong. But
For Your Consideration.
Oh my God, yes.
Love that one. So good.
But his acting is really impressive and so surprising. And watching this film and seeing him in that scene and going, I cannot see a single scrap of Count Rugen in this.
When the opening credits were coming up and he was in one of the 3 lists, it was like Christopher Guest. I was like, oh, what the hell? And then the movie ended. I'm like, where the fuck was Christopher Guest? And then I watched the credits. I'm like, what the hell? I went back and looked at a picture. I'm like, there's no way.
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking of what he looks like mostly in Best in Show. He's got those buck teeth.
Yeah.
And then in Waiting for Guffman, he's got that stupid like Dumb and Dumber haircut. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he really does transform. It's really impressive.
Yeah. And
isn't he in Spinal Tap too? He's one of the guys in Spinal Tap.
I guess he and Rob Reiner are friends in real life.
Yeah, they
right?
had to have been.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
He's the guy that killed Inigo Montoya's father. I couldn't believe it.
And then runs away when Inigo Montoya challenges
the
him
best
to
part, the fact that he runs away like a little bitch.
Oh, man.
Classic. No, that was, oh, God, he's so good in that film, too. So even the little parts have amazing people in them. And
oh, yeah.
It's actually too bad that you didn't like the score. I'm sorry to hear that. Mark Shaman.
Yeah, it was just too.
You really hate scores from that time period, though.
I really do.
And that style. There's a lot of great trumpet work in the score. It's too bad you didn't like it.
Well, it's really just the electric drums and the bass that throw me off.
I mean, it was 1992. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
That was in it, but I understand why you didn't like it. You usually don't like scores from that time period and that style, so that's totally okay.
It's true, yeah.
But
it's rare. 93 was Jurassic Park, and that was the score, I think, that other than Disney movies, where I was like, whoa.
The crazy thing, though, well, it's John Williams, of course. It's going to be amazing,
Yes.
right? But the crazy thing is that Mark Shaman is the composer for your movie this week. And that's a really good score, and it's
Didn't put
very
that together at all.
stressful too. Like that is a totally different style score, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
And Mark Shaman was the composer for City Slickers movies, the Addams Family movies, Sister Act,
cool.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh wow.
And my movie, The American President, from a couple years ago.
Right.
So yeah.
Nice.
And speaking of The American President, Aaron Sorkin also wrote that screenplay, and The West Wing, Charlie Wilson's War. He won
Great
the
movie.
Oscar for The Social Network.
Yep.
He was nominated for Moneyball. I cannot wait to introduce that movie to you.
I
God,
haven't
the
seen that
dialogue.
one yet still.
So good in that film, too. The show The Newsroom, the movie Steve Jobs, which is not good.
No, it's not.
He was nominated for an Oscar for Molly's Game, though, which is cool. And
cool.
The Trial of the Chicago 7, which just came out recently in the last couple years.
That is a great movie.
Mm-hmm. And Being the Ricardos, which you liked.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Aaron Sorkin was a recent college graduate, and he was working as a bartender at New York Broadway shows. He wrote the entire play of A Few Good Men on cocktail napkins during Act 1 and because he didn't have anything to do when the play was going on because everybody's watching.
Oh,
right?
my gosh.
So he said, I had lots of times and unlimited cocktail napkins is what he said.
That is crazy.
The crazy thing is that he wrote it during La Cage aux Folles, which is the Birdcage and the French play that the Robin Williams, Nathan Lane Birdcage movie is based on, which I picked previously, which is so cool.
Wow. That is a wild coincidence.
And this is actually based on a true story because his play was inspired by an actual code red at Gitmo.
No kidding.
Lance Corporal David Cox and 9 other enlisted men tied up a fellow Marine and severely beat him for snitching to the Naval Criminal Investigative Service.
Wow.
David Cox was acquitted and later honorably discharged. In 94, David Cox mysteriously vanished and his bullet-ridden body was found 3 months later.
Whoa.
His murder remains unsolved.
Oh, damn.
Aaron Sorkin's sister was the inspiration for Lieutenant Commander Galloway. She was a lawyer for JAG.
Oh, wow.
And she was part of that case.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So Aaron Sorkin then wrote this play, and the film rights were optioned before the play even went into production. And the title came, and for not only the play and the film, A Few Good Men, came from a long-running recruiting campaign for the Marines. We're looking for a few good men.
Oh, all right. There you go.
But the campaign was slowly phased out through the 80s and was replaced with The Few, the Proud, the Marines.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one you and I are familiar with.
Yep.
And not only is this movie very enthralling and exciting, but there are also several very funny moments of the film, too.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's really helpful in a movie that is this serious, that is over 2 hours. You need a couple of breaks in the tension, right? And Tom Cruise was really attracted to this movie because of the screenplay. He traveled to New York City to watch the Broadway play before signing on. He studied law before production started to make sure he was very familiar with legalese and legal terms, and so he could really believe what he was saying and understand what he was saying.
That's awesome.
And at one point, he actually imitates Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
The line was in the script, but he was just supposed to repeat it. He wasn't supposed to imitate him, so he completely ad-libbed imitating Jack Nicholson, and so the responses by Demi Moore and Kevin Pollak were completely natural. They didn't know he was going to do that.
That is wonderful.
Yes. And Rob Reiner said that landing Jack Nicholson was like having Babe Ruth on his team. He was so excited. Everyone was completely blown away when he showed up on set and when he was going to be part of the cast, and everyone got quiet and sat down the first time he came on set, and he was like, what the hell? And he is incredible in this film. He's charming and calm, but you can tell he's a predator.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell he's completely in command, No pun intended. And there's also something under the surface. And I think that lunch in Guantanamo Bay with them, it really shows his character quite nicely.
I need an answer to my question, sir.
Take caution in your tone, Commander. I'm a fair guy, but this fucking heat is making me absolutely crazy. You want to ask me about code reds on the record, I tell you I discourage the practice in accordance with the Commander's directive. Off the record, I tell you it is an invaluable part of close infantry training, and if it happens to go on without my knowledge, so be it. I run my unit how I run my unit. You want to investigate me, roll the dice and take your chances. I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
But Demi Moore was not the first choice to play Joanne Galloway. In fact, she negotiated her $3 million asking price down to $2 million because she was competing against not only Jodie Foster and Michelle Pfeiffer, but also Linda Hamilton.
Hey!
Who we spoke about last week in T2.
That would have been a wild take.
Yeah. And the guy who plays Downey, the defendant who speaks the most, right? And goes... speaks with Tom Cruise a lot, too. God, they have incredible chemistry. His name's Wolfgang Bodison, and he was actually working for Rob Reiner as a location scout on this film.
Oh, wow.
Rob decided he was perfect for the role, and so Wolfgang hired an acting coach, auditioned, and got the part.
That's badass.
Yeah, and he did great. There are a couple moments in the film that he gets upset that I think are so fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I love there's a lot of the stuff in the holding cell with Tom Cruise and him was really good.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I'm so impressed. It's so funny because Tom Cruise's performance is a bit overshadowed by everything else that's going on in the film, including Jack Nicholson, but also because this is kind of a busy film.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at it and realizing that he has phenomenal chemistry with every single person he's on screen with. Not only Wolfgang, but also Demi Moore, and also Kevin Pollak, and also Kevin Bacon. And then he goes up against Kiefer Sutherland, and they're fighting, and that's really good and fun and tension-filled. And then there's Jack Nicholson, of course, that he goes up. Every single person he works with, it just elevates the scene because of the chemistry and the energy and the tension that he is able to provide and play off with each actor. It's very impressive, actually.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And with Jack Nicholson, he only worked on the film for 10 days.
That's it?
Which is pretty impressive considering, yes, he only has 4 scenes. However, the last scene he's in is like 20 minutes long. And
that's true, yeah.
He's in not an insignificant amount of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
so
that's true.
In 10 days, he actually needed to work an extra day because of a couple of reshoots, and he didn't get paid for it, and he didn't care. He really liked working with Rob Reiner, and Rob Reiner loved working with him and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Jack. This scene actually requires another take." And Jack Nicholson said, "Rob, you don't understand. I love acting. We'll do this as many times as you want."
Hell yeah.
So it seems like they both had a really good experience with each other, which is cool. And hearing
awesome.
that Jack loved what he did, it makes me so happy. He actually repeated his courtroom monologue, which is incredible. So good.
Very, very good.
He repeated it off camera several times, which has to happen. This is how you make movies, is the cameras is set up pointing at the person doing the monologue, and then the cameras get set up pointing at the people who react to that monologue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times what happens is, especially with A-list actors, those monologues can be repeated by a member of the crew, or they could be repeated by that actor, but kind of monotone and not really into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so the actors just have to react the way they're supposed to. And then when the camera is actually on that main person giving the dialogue, that's when they go for it and give all the emotion of the scene. Well, Jack, because he loves his job and because he's a great actor, he gave it 100% for every single take, like he was on camera.
Badass.
He said he was quite spent by the time he finished. But everyone on the set was so impressed, and Kiefer Sutherland in an interview later even said, "I don't think any of us realized how hard Jack Nicholson worked to be Jack Nicholson."
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to give it up. Like, Jack, he earned 3 Oscars in his career. He's an amazing actor. We love him. He's been in a lot of stuff, as I've said, and more that we're going to pick on this podcast. But he's an A-list actor. He didn't have to do that, right?
Nope.
But he had a
definitely not.
work ethic, and he cared, and he seemed passionate. I just love that story so much.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And so, yeah, he totally earned his $5 million for his 10 days' work.
Yeah.
And Kevin Pollak's mother is an extra. She's in the crowd watching the trial during the movie. And
Oh, cool.
according to Kevin Pollak, she hit on Jack Nicholson,
Of course she did.
which I would have taken a shot too. I get it. For sure. And we like to talk about how the F word is used, is counted however many times in our very raunchy movies like Superbad and stuff like that. But the word sir is used 164 times in this movie.
Oh, all right. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now after all that gushing of Jack Nicholson being Colonel Nathan Jessup in this movie, Gene Hackman turned down the role.
Oh, damn.
He was busy playing Sheriff Little Bill in Unforgiven.
Ha nice.
And so then he and Jack Nicholson were competing against each other for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars that next year.
Oh, wow.
And Gene Hackman won over Jack. And it did get nominated for several Oscars, not only Best Supporting Actor, but also Best Picture, which means Rob Reiner got a nomination for that because he was also producer. Best Sound, which is kind of surprising. Not really sure
Yeah,
why.
best sound.
Not a lot
Interesting.
whatever. I mean, you can hear everyone's dialogue, which is really refreshing given movies that are released in the 2020s. You can't hear anything other than the explosions. But it also was nominated for Best Film Editing, which is really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that is. It was
However,
edited very well.
It was edited very well, and you're right, the cinematography was good too. But that means it was the only Best Picture nominee that A, didn't win any Academy Awards. Boo.
Yeah.
But also did not get any nominations in writing categories and was not nominated for Best Director. It was the only Best Picture nominee to do any of those things that year, which is such a bummer.
Yeah, that is.
Definitely deserved Best Director nominee for Rob Reiner. I mean, just wrangling in all of those great actors, I think
Hell yeah.
deserves a Best Director nom. But it is the only film directed by Rob Reiner to date to gross over $100 million.
Oh, wow.
When Harry Met Sally only grossed 96, and The Bucket List, also with Jack Nicholson, grossed $97 million domestically. So,
Damn.
on a $41 million budget, 5 of that going to Jack, it earned $141 million in the United States and $243 million worldwide.
Wow. That's impressive.
It did great. Yeah, it did really great. And Jack's famous monologue saying, "You can't handle the truth," was ranked number 29 of top movie quotes of all time by AFI.
Nice.
It's number 5 on their list of the greatest courtroom dramas.
Oh, all right.
Number 1 being To Kill a Mockingbird, number 2 being 12 Angry Men, and then Kramer versus Kramer and The Verdict, and then A Few Good Men. That is a great list, by the way. AFI's top courtroom dramas. If you wanted to go through that list ever, not only you, John, but also our audience, highly recommend that entire top 10 list. It is a flawless list, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so that is A Few Good Men, one of my all-time favorite Rob Reiner films, and also one of my favorite Aaron Sorkin films. Highly recommend it. Definitely love it. I'm so glad that you had a good time with it. I hope you're willing to revisit it again in the future. Unfortunately, it's only for rent right now, but it's worth every penny in my opinion.
Totally.
And because this movie came out in 1992, it means my film came out after yours.
Yes, it did.
And that is why there are 2 novels inside Danny's apartment, Tom Cruise's apartment, and also a typewriter that are visible, and that is a nod to your film.
I figured as much when I was watching the movie.
And that, I think, is a good segue to get into your pick this week.
I think you're right.
All right, so why don't you tell our audience which Rob Reiner film you chose?
All right, let's do it. Let's jump all the way back 2 years prior to your pick this week. My film, well, Rob Reiner's film, and the actors in this film made this movie in 1989. The film did come out in 1990. This is based on a Stephen King novel of the same name. This film stars Kathy Bates, James Caan, Richard Farnsworth, and a couple of minutes of Lauren Bacall.
Yeah.
This is Misery. I saw Misery when I was, I think, 11 the first time. like 11 or 12. My
Dear
parents,
God.
parents sat my sister and I down and were like, let's watch this movie. It's really good. It's Rob Reiner. He did The Princess Bride, and they had already seen Misery, so they were like, yeah, let's check this out. And I was traumatized for a minute after having seen Misery, because this movie is certainly pretty gnarly.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever used gnarly on this podcast, but yeah, it's a fun word, and it works for this movie in particular. If you haven't seen Misery, that's fine. It is a great movie, but it is also worth watching. You can currently stream it on HBO Max or on Disney+. I watched my VHS copy of this movie that I bought at Amoeba Music for $1 many, many years ago.
Which I think is awesome and very fitting for this film in particular. There are certain films that are so perfect to watch on VHS.
Yeah, it felt pretty awesome watching it on VHS downstairs. I had the volume up pretty high.
Oh, I bet.
And Amy kept coming down the stairs to get some water when she goes, do you need it that loud? I'm like, you know I do.
Yes.
So I did watch this movie very loud.
Never ask us that question, ever.
I know.
The answer is always yes.
Gotta feel the rumble and the tumble. So for you folks out there that haven't seen Misery or read the novel, which I have not done, I have not read many Stephen King novels, but I've read a good handful of them. Misery takes place after Paul Sheldon, a writer, has finished his newest book about the character Misery. He has been writing about Misery for several years. He's got a whole catalog of Misery novels that are very popular, making him a lot of money. And his agent, played by Lauren Bacall, is very excited about the new book. But Paul wants to venture out into different territory after this Misery novel. So once he's finished with this book, he likes to have a glass of champagne and a cigarette, and he also writes at his secluded cabin way out in the woods, in the snowy, snowy woods. And his cabin is in Colorado that he stays in every time he's trying to finish a Misery novel. So now Paul is ready to get on the road with his final book and bring it to his publisher and get it off the ground, and hopefully after this book he's able to get into different territory, different novels, different characters, etc. Unfortunately, a snowstorm comes through Colorado, and he drives his car off a cliff and crashes his car in a pretty spectacular car crash.
Yes.
He is immobilized at this point. He is unable to move. All of a sudden, he is being pulled out of the car, and the next thing we as an audience and Paul Sheldon, as the person experiencing this whole situation, realize is that he is now in a home with a woman who starts off by saying, I'm your biggest fan. I'm going to take really good care of you. Don't you worry about anything. As the camera comes into focus, we see Kathy Bates, who is playing Annie Wilkes. Very sweet, very, very sweet introduction. I mean, how awesome is it that she rescued this guy from this insane car crash and is going to nurse him back to health?
No, even the first shot of her is horribly disturbing. Okay, keep going.
Just a little bit. She's got that really creepy smile, the hair comb over, and the
crazy eyes. I talk about this with my sisters and my buddies all the time. If you can see the whites around their whole entire eye, they're crazy.
Yep. And Annie Wilkes is certainly off some sort of kilter. So Paul's very grateful for this, and he would really like to get on the phone with his publisher and also call his daughter, because his daughter will start to worry about where he is. And he has told him that the phones are out. The storm has also closed all the roads, so nobody's going in and out of town, and nobody can get a phone call off to anybody. So they're just stuck in this house, and she's also bandaged him up. His legs have been broken, and he had a dislocated shoulder that she puts back into place. So we're kind of getting a little bit of a backstory just by the dialogue that maybe Annie knows a little bit, maybe Annie knows a thing or two about how to actually take care of somebody. And on top of all of this, Annie lives way out in the middle of nowhere in the forest of this town in Colorado. She also has a pig that she has dubbed Misery, and she introduces Paul to this pig. And I gotta tell you, that might be one of the funniest scenes in the movie. On top of the other scenes that are not funny, but I can't help but laugh because they're so disturbing.
Or else you'd cry.
Or else you would cry. So Annie and Paul are starting to get to know each other, and Paul is becoming very thankful over the fact that Annie has been watching over him and nursing him back to health. And then she just keeps dropping that she's his biggest fan, and he tells her that he has his new manuscript in his bag and that she is welcome to read it as a thank you. And she has the opportunity now to read this new manuscript, this new book, this Misery novel that she has been a massive fan of for the last several years. So as time passes and Annie's been reading the new manuscript, Paul's getting a little bit worried that time is passing and people are going to start looking for him. So he would really like to get a phone call out to his agent, his publisher, to his daughter, and Annie keeps telling him that the phone lines are down. And then Lauren Bacall's character, playing his publisher, she ends up calling the local police in the town of where the cabin that he normally stays in is, and tells the police officer that Paul's been missing, and it's been about a week now, and she's getting a little worried, as are his family members, and they'd really like to try and find Paul if they can. So now we have this cop involved in this, played by Richard Farnsworth. He plays Buster. He's
So
pretty
good.
awesome.
Him and his
he's
wife,
got
the
his
deputy.
wife, Virginia.
Oh.
Yeah, just awesome.
I love them both so much, and I love them as actors too, but together, so delightful.
Yes, definitely. And for the rest of the movie, we are with Paul as he's trying to figure out how much time has passed, how much longer Annie's planning on nursing him back to health, and if the police are ever going to possibly find Paul Sheldon. And we are treated to some pretty magnificent acting from Kathy Bates. Now, I usually wait for the end of this, but I think most of our audience would know that she did win the Oscar for this movie. The only nomination for Misery was for Kathy Bates, and she won. Completely deserved.
1,000% deserved.
Every time she starts to lose it on him, it's definitely terrifying, and it's really crazy. No pun intended. When she comes into his room in the middle of the night and she's like, Paul, I really like your new book, but all the swearing, do I go into a room and say, give me a big GD check, or are you going to do, like, when she, and the way the camera pushes in on her, and you can, I don't know how Kathy Bates did it, but her eyes die when she starts going off like this, and she just looks out into the abyss of whatever the hell she's looking at, and just goes off on him in several different scenes. My favorite one is when they both talk about different chapters of TV shows or movies that they used to go see in the movie theater. And she is like, oh my gosh, there was one where a guy just drives off a cliff. And the next week I went, but I'm just going to let Annie tell you this one. This is literally my favorite part of the whole freaking movie.
Paul, what you've written just isn't fair.
Not fair.
That's right. When I was growing up in Bakersfield, my favorite thing in all the world was to go to the movies on Saturday afternoons for the chapter plays.
Cliffhangers.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them serials. I'm not stupid, Anyway, my favorite was Rocket Man. And once it was a no-brakes chapter. And the bad guy stuck him in a car on a mountain road and knocked him out and welded the door shut and tore out the brakes and started him to his death. And he woke up and tried to steer and tried to get out, but the car went off a cliff before he could escape. And it crashed and burned, and I was so upset and excited. And the next week, you better believe I was first in line. And they always start with the end of the last week. And there was Rocket Man trying to get out. And here comes the cliff. And just before the car went off the cliff, he jumped free. And all the kids cheered. But I didn't cheer. I stood right up and started shouting, "This isn't what happened last week! Have you all got amnesia? They just cheated us! This isn't fair! He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car!"
Not only is that scene slightly unhinged, as one of the newer words to use in the vernacular these days, but she emotes this really terrifying demon of a woman as she really just starts to get deeper into caring, quote unquote, for Paul while she's trying to heal him up. And like I said, I think I saw this movie when I was 11 or 12. It was a family watch. And I'll never forget the horrifying scene that takes place in this movie. And I don't think the last few times I watched this movie, I've looked away, but I ended up watching it this time around, and it's just done so well. Mm-hmm. Just the effects that they use, just fantastic. And before I get into any BTS and screenplay written by William Goldman, by the way, which we did not talk about. William Goldman wrote Princess Bride and several other movies.
We love him.
And we are big fans. And this film was directed by Rob Reiner. I imagine everybody knew that because this is our Rob Reiner in memoriam episode. But this was Rob Reiner's first foray into horror movies. and it won his lead actress an Oscar. So that's pretty badass. And again, based on another Stephen King novel. And we'll get into a little bit of James Caan's character and who was up for the possibility of playing him in just a little bit. But I really am curious, V, what you thought of your first watch of Misery.
Okay. I knew the premise of this film just through general knowledge and also someone sharing that scene with me and then having to watch it back when I had gotten in a motorcycle accident and broken my ankle many years ago.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. This movie makes me so uncomfortable. I was disturbed and scared the entire time. I'm so glad I watched it at night. Oh, God. I hate that I had to watch this movie, and I love this movie so much. And I'm so
Another
conflicted
Conjuring
and
and Hereditary, everybody.
Yes.
Hell
She
yeah.
is so wildly unpredictable and disturbing. She's absolutely incredible, and I love it when actors and actresses can toe that line of playing crazy without going off the deep end and making it completely ridiculous.
Yes.
She clearly has borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder, and I love that she's this like good Christian woman who doesn't swear. She's got that big old crucifix, and she's wearing those big wool dowdy dresses that our elementary school teachers used to wear back in the early 90s.
Totally.
The moment she comes on screen, I was thinking, nope, I don't like this. Oh, God, she's so good. And in the beginning, well, first of all, can we talk about the director of photography on this movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
Barry Sonnenfeld. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, right? That is a revelation for me as well. I don't think I've watched Misery in almost 10 years. It's been a while. And when I bought the VHS, I tried to get Amy to watch it with me, and she didn't want to, so I never actually did. So this was the first watch for me in a long time. And when I saw that credit, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like Jean de Bont being the DP.
Yeah.
And then directing. It's so cool when that happens.
Well, and this is actually, this is the only piece of trivia that I looked up just because I paused the movie when I saw the credit in the very beginning, like 30 seconds into this movie, and I'm like, oh, wait, gotta stop it. And I looked it up. This was his very last credit as a cinematographer.
Oh, very cool. Well, he went out with a bang.
He certainly did, and then he went
out with a cobble.
Oh, God. And then he went on to direct one of your all-time favorite movies.
Yes, indeed. Men in Black.
And which is a totally different movie than this one.
Just a little bit.
But in the beginning, when Lauren Bacall, still gorgeous, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And God, she's very captivating in this film, even the short scenes that she's in. But in the beginning, when he's talking to Lauren Bacall, who is his editor or publisher, and he's writing all these misery novels, which, based on the covers, they're these Western romance novels, and you can tell
like
he's
trashy
like, I hate
garbage.
writing. Yeah, he's like, I hate writing these novels, but they make me a lot of money, and it totally reminded me of Romancing the Stone in the beginning.
Yes, yes.
A lot of great parallels, which made me really happy. And yeah, like I said, the very first shot of Kathy Bates, you're just like, no, I don't want to keep going at all. But you do, because it's amazing, and so is her performance. The score is really good. It reminded me a lot. We talked about this a little bit last week for The Dark Knight, where the Joker had his own theme that was very uncomfortable. And as soon as it came up, you're like, oh, crap, what's going to happen? And and Annie's character has her own theme in this movie as well. And
yeah.
Oh, God. And I love, there's a moment where, because time does move on in this movie, and he's getting better, and all of a sudden these excuses that she has just aren't landing anymore. They're not really believable. And it's, getting to springtime, and the roads are still closed. She's like, oh my God.
Phones are still down.
And then he realizes that he's locked in this room, which is also a terrifying moment for me. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But there are several points, because James Caan obviously isn't just sitting there. He is actually wanting to leave, which is understandable. And he has this whole plan, and it's so smart. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is going to work. And then you're looking at the time going, there's too much left in this movie for this plan to work. And then something happens where the plan goes completely off the rails, and he's so good at, there's this subreddit called Watch People Die Inside, where there's clips where like somebody drops a whole tray of champagne flutes and they like die inside, right? And just the expression of defeat. And he does that so well in this scene.
Yeah,
And I was
I know the exact scene you're talking about.
God.
He totally does. I remember when I first watched it, and what happens, and then like the next cut is him, and he's just sitting there like. It's so subtle, but it's just like, damn,
so
dude,
good.
like, you feel for this guy so bad right now.
Okay, there is one complaint I have about this film. Otherwise, I absolutely loved it. Spectacular. Worth watching just for Kathy Bates' performance, if nothing else. But there is so much more to watch as well. So, yes, love this movie. But I do wish that she went off the rails a little bit into this movie, because you meet her and then a scene or two later, she starts yelling at him because she's that unhinged and she's that unstable. And I wish there would have been a couple more scenes with her in the beginning where she just seems normal, where she can hide it for a little bit longer, because then I think it would have been more impactful that she's actually crazy. I think that would have been a little bit better. That's my only complaint. That makes the movie an A- for me, but whatever. She isn't crazy the whole time, and I really like that, because that's how she can interact with the public and go down into town and stuff. And her dialogue in the rain scene, where she's speaking quietly and talking about how the rain makes her depressed, and
misses her husband and everything.
I know you don't love me, and oh god, it was so well delivered. I absolutely got chills. I felt for her. Oh, it was such a good performance. I was so blown away and impressed. And I love Kathy Bates. I've loved her for a very long time. She's amazing in this John Travolta movie called Primary Colors. Absolutely loved her in that film. And there's so many movies she's been in that I love. And she's now getting a lot of recognition for the new Matlock series that I hear is very good. So big fan of hers. But just that subtlety in that scene was so good. And I had so much fun watching her. And like I said, her crazy eyes. And so, I mean, I absolutely had to look away at the hobbling scene, and this movie makes me violently uncomfortable, but it's so well made and so well acted that you can't help but recommend it.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
So thank you for making me watch it, kind of.
And not even during the month of October.
Yeah, no, it's great. I definitely would watch this again with you in October at some point or something.
Hell yeah.
It's also very fun to watch this crazy cabin fevery movie. I don't know. It's just really entertaining.
No, totally.
I loved it. I can't say enough about it. I was very happy with how much I enjoyed it, because it's a horror movie, because you're introducing me to it, because it's based on a Stephen King novel. There's so many aspects of this movie that make me happy that I loved it, because I'm a fan of most of them.
Well, good. I'm glad. It certainly is a great flick and worth anybody's time if you've never seen it, just for Kathy Bates. But James Caan was great too. And this one has a great soundtrack. It's shot very well. Rob Reiner really did a great job. There was a moment on set where Rob Reiner was chastising himself because he was having a little bit of trouble getting through a couple of scenes, and James Caan kind of came up to him as he was finishing this, self-deprecating moment that he had while he was making this movie. And James Caan said he overheard him say, "Who do you think you are, Hitchcock?" And apparently Rob Reiner was really trying to encapsulate a sort of Hitchcockian sort of feel for the movie. And I think he completely nailed it.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. I could see that, especially with some of the close-up shots of her and the way this movie is shot, and there's some fast cuts. It could absolutely be a hit. Yeah, I think he was very successful.
Yeah, hell yeah. And this is not the first time that Rob Reiner and Stephen King have worked together, because Rob Reiner directed Stand By Me, which is another Stephen King novel, which I can't remember when I actually last saw Stand By Me. It might be like 30-plus years.
Same.
So I wasn't sure if that was like a staple in your house or not. It certainly was not in mine.
No, I wasn't old enough.
I don't know if I was old enough either, and maybe I've just heard about it so many times over the years that I feel like I've seen it, but maybe I haven't actually seen Stand By Me, so that might be a movie to check out in the future. I know a lot of people really like it.
Yeah, me too.
But anyway, getting back to Stephen King and Rob Reiner. Actually, Stephen King mostly, because this is a Stephen King adaptation. King was so impressed with Kathy Bates that for his next novel, he wrote the character with Kathy Bates in mind, just in case they were going to make it into a movie. And 5 years later, they did, and it was called Dolores Claiborne.
Oh, and she was.
She was in Dolores Claiborne. She was the namesake of the movie. And that movie is damn good. I don't know if you've seen Dolores Claiborne, but it's Kathy Bates, David Strathairn, and Gabby Hoffman.
Oh, I'm in.
Awesome.
Absolutely
awesome
in.
flick. Yeah, it is good. It's definitely fucked up because it's Stephen King. But it's kick ass. I loved it. I watched it, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I was doing one of my movie days where I watch movies I'd never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, Dolores Claiborne. I like Kathy Bates. I'm going to check this out. An hour into the movie, I'm like, I am loving this movie. And then it just it continues on being a great movie.
Oh, throw it on the list.
I should throw it on the list.
Definitely underrated.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Speaking of Jack Nicholson, like we just did for a little bit, during your pick of this week, Jack Nicholson was offered the role of Paul Sheldon, but he passed on this movie because he wasn't sure he wanted to do another Stephen King movie, because he did The Shining just 10 years earlier.
And as an author in the movie.
Exactly, yeah. 2 authors, same thing.
And it's in Colorado. Oh, my God.
Yeah. A lot of similarities. Cabin Fever, the whole damn shebang.
This is what would happen to Mr. Torrance if he got in a car accident before making it up to the Overlook Hotel.
Exactly. So we got James Caan, which he did a great job as Paul Sheldon.
He really did.
And we've talked about James Caan, I think, once before with your pick of The Godfather in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the only time. So we haven't done Elf, that's for sure.
I'll probably do it at some point, though, even though I know you don't like Will Ferrell.
I still like Elf.
That's right, you do.
That is a staple in my house every year for Christmas. But anyway, moving on. James Caan ended up going to set one day very hungover. And unfortunately, he was so hungover that all of the material they shot that day was unusable. So Rob Reiner had to approach him and say, hey, there was something wrong with the lab. The material didn't work. We have to reshoot this stuff. Later on, James Caan found out that it was because he was so hungover that they had to reshoot everything. James Caan offered to pay the money to the studio that they lost on that day of shooting.
Well, that was responsible of him, especially because 90% of this movie, he is in bed.
Yeah, he spent 15 weeks laying in bed.
You imagine the depth of your hangover, the levels and heights of your hangover that have to be so bad that you cannot perform in bed.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that it was the scenes when he's like wheeling around the house or something like
just
that.
Keeps
like
running and everything.
Yeah, but if it was him laying in bed and he was just like, there's got to be some sort of BTS of that. I actually wouldn't mind seeing some of it.
He also plays one of the gangsters in Dick Tracy. He plays the guy that
That's right.
Al Pacino kills off pretty quickly.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And he's in Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's going to be one of my picks in the future.
That's right. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Annie Wilkes is Stephen King's favorite character that he has written, which is pretty wild.
Wow, even that's impressive, but I think that's a respectable choice.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, out of all the books that he's written, this is the one that he lands on his favorite character. And that's great. I don't even know how many books the guy's written. It's got to have over 150.
I would think
so
especially
many.
Because he writes so many short stories too.
Right, yeah, and so many of them get the movie treatment.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane.
Including Carrie, one of my previous picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we've done a couple Stephen King adaptations on the show now.
Yeah, you've done Pet Sematary. We're big fans of him, and he's a really cool human being.
Now, James Caan and Kathy Bates, while shooting this movie, they did not get along very well.
It was going to be one of two things. Either they hated each other or they had an affair, right? Because that's always the way this goes.
Right. Well, luckily it wasn't the affair, and they didn't hate each other. They just had different acting methods.
Well,
they're very similar to other
shithead was hungover all the time. It's not surprising she got pissed off at him. I'd be frustrated too.
But on top of that, he was very much about not doing rehearsals, and Kathy Bates was coming off of doing a lot of stage work and doing a lot of rehearsals. They did come to a compromise to where they would rehearse a little bit and then dive into it. And even though they didn't really get along very well, after the movie came out and at the premiere, they ended up reconciling and becoming really good friends for the remainder of James Caan's life. And after he ended up passing away, she went on record to say that making this movie was one of the best experiences that she ever had making a movie.
Well, and we've run into that before, too, where if somebody comes from the theater and there was one, well, it was either an Al Pacino or a Robert De Niro film, similar, where one of them was used to doing a lot of takes, practicing a whole lot, and the other one just kind of wanted to go on the fly. It might have even been Heat.
That was Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
That's right. I just rewatched that movie a couple weeks ago for Christmas, and it was so fun to revisit.
Great movie. But yeah, and on top of it could have been another movie too. But
it's
I
true
just
for any industry,
for sure.
right? Like your style of working, if it completely clashes with a teammate's style of working that you have to work on a project on together, you're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna get frustrated. It's really not a comment. I mean, other than him being so hungover he can't work, but otherwise, it's not a commentary on either of them. I don't think. Whenever this comes into play, if it's a stylistic issue, I'm like, yeah, each person's got their own way to do it. You know, you're not being stupid method acting, so it's fine.
Right. After Misery ended up coming out, there was a lot of talk about turning it into a Broadway play and having Julia Roberts play Annie Wilkes.
No.
Stephen King, vetoed the idea right away. And after his veto, people asked him like what the deal was, and he says, Annie is a brawny woman who can sling a guy around, not a pixie. Which is kind of a funny thing.
So
to say
awesome.
About Julia Roberts.
Well, she was called Tinker Hell on Hook, so it makes sense.
That's right.
Do you know what's funny is I was thinking of a modern version of Misery and trying to think of who would be cast for Annie Wilkes.
let me. Well,
okay.
You want me to?
Yeah. Please.
In 2015, there was a Broadway adaptation. Who do you think played Paul Sheldon? We've talked about him before in one of your very early picks. First year of Christmas movies, we talked about him.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis was Paul Sheldon.
That is not a good fit at all.
I don't think so either. But Annie Wilkes was played by a very talented actress that we have talked about before, and I don't think I can really give you any hints on this one, but it was Laurie Metcalf.
Oh, she's not brawny. She's a stick.
She's not brawny, no.
She's
Roseanne's
sister.
But I think she would
She's
totally
tiny.
play Annie Wilkes pretty well, though.
Well, actually, the person who I thought of for modern casting is Melissa McCarthy.
Ooh. I could be into that, yeah.
Especially with some of her more dramatic turns, like Will You Ever Forgive Me? Playing
I like that movie.
drab and dowdy, having a brown hair with a crappy haircut and those wool dress. Like, she could probably be wearing almost the same costume as Annie was in the 1990s.
That's true, yeah.
And then I'm thinking somebody, you know what? Bradley Cooper before the plastic surgery could have been a really good author character, I think. Gary Oldman could have been interesting. You know, somebody who looks a little scholarly, I think, with scruff.
Yeah,
I think could have been really fun as a... granted, obviously, I don't think this movie should ever be remade, but I really love our discussions around modern casting.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob Reiner was questioned about making this movie right before production started because he came from mostly making comedies, When Harry Met Sally and so forth,
right.
Princess Bride, Spinal Tap, etc., and he had said that it was important for him to find his way into the film, and a lot of people would look at him as a man who's been trapped by his own success and desperately trying to break out and establish himself in a different way. And he was saying that because it kind of happened to him after All in the Family finished shooting. A lot of people were like, oh, well, Rob Reiner's just a TV actor. Mm-hmm. And then he came out with Spinal Tap. And then he came out with When Harry Met Sally, Princess Bride. And everyone was just like, wow, this guy, he's got the chops to do some comedy. I remember my dad being like, yeah, Rob Reiner directed this movie. I was like, I know the name. He goes, yeah, he directed The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally. You're too young to watch When Harry Met Sally, but when you do, you'll understand. I'm like, oh, okay. And I totally do. Like, I love the fact that Rob Reiner's filmography is so different. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see This Is Still Spinal Tap, which just came out last year, which I'll have to just in his honor watch. I liked the first Spinal Tap. I remember liking it, but it wasn't like something that was a staple in my house, if that makes any sense.
No, it definitely wasn't a staple in my house either. However, in college, turning it up to 11 was something we said all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was in guitar lessons, the guy was like, hey, does your amp go to 11?
Yeah.
So, what are you talking about? Because have you not seen that movie Spinal Tap? I'm like, no, I don't think so. That's how I had heard about it when I was younger anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The car accident in this scene was done in one take, and they used 7 different cameras to actually get all of the angles of that traumatic car accident. And Rob Reiner is quoted saying that we knew we weren't going to be able to throw a car off a cliff more than once, really. So we just wanted to get it done as quickly as we possibly could.
No, it's a great scene. They did a really good job.
Kathy Bates was the first woman to win an Oscar for Best Actress in a Horror Film or a Thriller. And that paved the way for a lot of actresses in the future.
Well, and I love that this came out the year before The Silence of the Lambs, which was then rewarded with Oscars as well.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that helps her winning. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, here are the other actors that were in consideration for Paul Sheldon
All right.
for Misery.
Okay.
This is coming from William Goldman. He has a book called 4 Screenplays, and I found this really interesting because Bruce Willis is in the list that was offered the movie, and he turned it down. So here we go. We got Warren Beatty.
No.
I don't think so. Robert De Niro, definitely not.
No, he's not a writer. Or he doesn't seem like one. You know what I mean?
He doesn't seem like one. No, exactly. Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I could kind of
You can see Michael Douglas?
Maybe, yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes, absolutely.
I can see
With
Richard
those glasses,
Dreyfuss,
for
100%.
sure.
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
hairline, definitely an author.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman.
That's interesting because I was just thinking Jeffrey Wright could be really cool in a remake, especially because
Jeffrey Wright.
he played an author in American fiction.
Right. Morgan Freeman would have been interesting. Denzel Washington was another one offered the role.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah. William Hurt was offered the role twice.
100%, yes.
Yep. Al Pacino was offered the role, as was Kevin Kline, Mel Gibson, Gene Hackman, and Robert Redford.
Most of those guys I would say no to. No to Mel Gibson at all.
No Mel Gibson, definitely not.
Gene Hackman...
I think he's too scrappy. Like, I think...
I could see him just kicking her ass, right?
Yeah, exactly. And not that...
James Caan doesn't seem like that, especially from The Godfather, of course, but...
Right.
I don't know. He just polishes up a little bit better, and... I mean, he has that undercurrent of anger that... They're so similar in so many ways. It's so funny, but... Yeah, just not as believable, I guess. But then, God, Mel Gibson, what a horrible idea.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been very good.
Especially when he's that young. What the hell?
Exactly, yeah. 90s Mel Gibson, no way.
That's funny. Gene Hackman was offered your role, too, though.
Mm-hmm. Bette Midler turned down the role of Annie Wilkes because she thought the screenplay was too violent. And then, of course, later, she recalled that was a very stupid decision.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kathy Bates is perfection. But Bette Midler... showing some of that anger, I could see. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other actresses that was offered Annie Wilkes, you'll like this one because you're a big fan of hers. I am as well. Morticia Addams, Angelica Houston was offered the role of Annie Wilkes.
Nope, she is not dowdy enough at all. He would have just said, "You're right. I love you too. I love that you're my biggest fan." Let's have sex. Like, that's how that conversation would have gone. Not, here's my favorite pig. Like, can you picture her being a farmer on her own?
Definitely not. No, I don't think so.
And like basically a 40-year-old virgin? No.
Yeah. Jessica Lange and Barbara Streisand were also in talks to play Annie Wilkes as well. Jessica Lange, yes.
Yeah, I could totally.
Jessica Lange,
she's good at playing crazy. You know, Glenn Close is good at playing crazy too.
Yeah, Glenn Close would have been pretty sweet.
But I can't picture her on a farm either. I
can't.
You know, she needs to be a sturdy gal. That's the thing.
She does.
Rosie O'Donnell would have been good.
Oh, that would have been wild. One of the dresses that Kathy Bates wears in this movie is on display at the Planet Hollywood in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
There's still Planet Hollywoods that are open?
I just wanted to throw that in there because I know we did a Planet Hollywood discussion many, many, many episodes ago, and I just thought it would be kind of fun to throw that in.
Speaking of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, right. And there's a nod to Misery in When Harry Met Sally. This movie came out a year after When Harry Met Sally, but Billy Crystal is reading Misery during a scene in When Harry Met Sally.
And Misery are the books that are on Tom Cruise's shelves in the movie A Few Good Men.
Oh, well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And William Goldman did do the adaptation for the Broadway play from 2015-2016 season, where, like I said, Bruce Willis and Laurie Metcalf starred. So that is pretty much all I've got for Misery. The film came out November 30th of 1990. Budget was $20 million. Gross worldwide box office was $61.2 million. and it won Kathy Bates her first Oscar.
Which is good, although I figured it would have made a little bit more just because this is considered basically a classic at this point.
Oh, absolutely is a classic, yes. But there you have it, everybody. There's Misery. We are briefly going to, for the last couple of minutes of the episode, we're going to talk about a lot of Rob Reiner's credits. I, in particular, really want to talk about one of my favorite acting credits of his. Actually, there's two. But, V, do you want to take it away and drop a couple of Rob Reiner credits on our audience for those that may not know that he directed such things? I actually completely forgot he directed The Bucket List, so there's that one for me.
Yeah, and like we both said, he had such variety in his film. Other than the couple that you and I have spoken about, he was, I think, a lot stronger in the 80s and early 90s with his movies, but he did direct a lot of great films. I think Ghosts of Mississippi is incredible, that more people should watch. He directed The American President, one of my picks in our first year, and written by Aaron Sorkin, as I said. And then he has a mix of stuff that aren't great, but that are a lot of fun. And I was happy with some of the stuff he made in the 2000s. But one of the ones I did want to talk about, just because it's very relevant, unfortunately, is that he did direct a movie called Being Charlie.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this one.
Cary Elwes is in it, and so is the actor from Love, Simon, a movie that I picked for one of our LGBT episodes. But it's a loosely autobiographical movie because Being Charlie is about a boy who has a lot of drug problems. And it's actually about his son, Nick, and their lives together, and how there was a lot of struggles with mental health and drug use and him not wanting to go to rehab and his deteriorating relationship with his parents, especially his father. And we all unfortunately now know that it was Nick who killed his parents. It was weird and sad to read about this movie that he made about his son and their relationship. And so that really hit home for me when I was looking at Rob Reiner's credits specifically. And the last movie of his that I had watched was from 2016. It's called LBJ. Woody Harrelson played Lyndon Johnson, and Woody was really good in it. But yeah, there's his early 90s and late 80s work is top tier, and we still talked about several of those movies just throughout this episode, but we still talk about all of them to this day. They're so good. And what credits still stick out in your mind?
Definitely All in the Family. I was a young All in the Family watcher, not just for, oh my gosh, great show from the 70s. It was hysterical. Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker. Oh my gosh. We discussed Carol O'Connor in our Return to Me episode many years ago.
He played a totally different character in that
movie. He did. That also had Gene Stapleton, who is also in You've Got Mail, and Rob Reiner was Michael in the show, and gosh, there were so many just hysterical episodes. He's also got a small role in Sleepless in Seattle, which we discussed not too long ago as well. He's also he's got a small role in Throw Mama from the Train, which was a movie that I was going to do many episodes ago, but we ended up moving it around. I don't know if we will do it in the future, but I kind of hope we do, because that's a really twisted Danny DeVito, Billy Crystal flick. And on top of those roles, I loved him in New Girl as Jess's father. Thought he was great in there, playing off of everybody on that show. And my favorite role of his is definitely the Martin Scorsese directed Wolf of Wall Street as Max Belfort, Jordan Belfort's father. The first scene when the phone rings and we're getting the exposition of who his father is, and he just goes off on the fact that the phone is ringing, and he has this weird British accent. It was just hilarious. And throughout the rest of the movie, he just completely cracked me up. So I just wanted to mention those movies and TV shows. And I actually forgot that he directed Ghosts of Mississippi. I saw that movie years ago. That movie is insane. And it's a very good movie, and that also is terrible, but at the same time the movie is very well done. He did direct the Albert Brooks documentary Defending My Life, which came out on HBO last year, that I have still not had a chance to watch, but I really look forward to watching that one. And like I said, The Bucket List, I remember it was okay. I took my dad to see it on the Warner Brothers lot. When I was working at Warner Brothers, we would get free movies like every Tuesday, and that was one of them, and that was pretty cool. But my favorite film that he's directed certainly is When Harry Met Sally, but if I'm going to go a different direction, then I will always choose Misery out of everything else. So I'm glad that we were able to bring Misery and A Few Good Men to the podcast this week and honor Rob Reiner and his legacy of cinematic and television greatness, I guess is what we could say.
Absolutely, and let's always remember that his dad was Carl Reiner, too.
Yes.
Also incredible, and I loved him in the Ocean's 11 movies. I know with my generation, that's what I'd love Carl Reiner for. But man, he was amazing in everything he did too. And
yes, he was.
And their retelling of The Princess Bride together during COVID was so...
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, gosh. I think it's on... I know it's on YouTube.
It's gotta be on YouTube.
Yeah, and so Rob plays the grandson in bed. And Carl plays the grandpa. And it was right before Carl died in 2020. And so them saying I love you to each other and goodbye was just so poignant. I'm so glad that they both were able to do that together and got that on film.
Yeah.
And most of the cast came back and reenacted The Princess Bride. It's one of the highlights of 2020 for me personally, and so many others too, because it was so fun that they did that. And they each took a scene and recorded it at their house. And oh God, it's so good.
Now that you're talking about this, I think Amy and I did watch this when it happened. It sounds like you're explaining it now, and I'm like, I think this actually is something that I've seen. So I'll still have to rewatch it again because it's just so great.
It is so great. I highly recommend anybody watching it. Just it's really fun and certainly something to get you in a better mood or lift your spirits, because they all did their part, and there are other people that came in too. You're like, oh my gosh, they got these guys involved, and it was just a really communal effort and just so heartfelt and. It's like all in each other's backyards and stuff. It's so funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we will miss Rob Reiner, and we will likely be doing more of his movies in the future. I can't imagine that we wouldn't. So keep a lookout for when that happens. Thanks, guys, for joining us for this In Memoriam episode of Rob Reiner. It's been a great revisit of both. Well, it's actually been a great introduction for both of us to both of these movies. So that was pretty sweet as well.
Yes, and let us know what your favorite Rob Reiner films are, too.
So thank you guys again for listening this week. Stay tuned for next week. And as always here at Movies You Miss Podcast, we like to close out with film as a form of art, and in art, all opinions are valid, except if you think.
The Princess Bride isn't a perfect movie.
Ooh, all right. I like that one.
Thank you, Rob Reiner. If you'd done
Thanks, Rob Reiner.
Nothing else in your entire life, just giving us The Princess Bride was enough.
Bride. Yep, absolutely. All right. Rest in peace, sir, and Michelle Reiner as well. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.